I recognize Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. So keeping on the Eagles theme, but on a serious note, the NFL commissioner, unbeknownst to a lot of people, Roger Goodell, as well as our personal hero, public safety, who wore it best, Malcolm Jenkins, spent an afternoon, about an hour, down at our pretrial unit over in CJC. And what they saw through a cash bail system shocked them to their core. So much so that they committed to be a part of the criminal justice reform. They saw firsthand how unfair, unequitable, and sometimes downright prejudiced to poor people that system was. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me for the last 2 years to be a part of the Criminal Justice Reform Committee as one of the co-chairs. And we discussed and found out a great many things about criminogenic behavior, ranging from overcrowded jails, school-to-pipeline prisons, constant reoccurrences of criminal acts, so much so that an article was released today about grandfathers serving with their sons and serving with their grandsons at the same jail. So much so that we have had books dedicated to the over-incarceration of the Negro, calling it the new Jim Crow. So we here are, and one of the things that I'm calling for personally, because of your commitment to put us in a situation where we were modernizing our systems, I'm calling for the end to a cash bail system in the city of Philadelphia and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Mr. President, in our research, we found out that a cash bail system comes from a 1,000-year-old medieval system that was created to make sure that, and they knew even then, that jails were too costly, and so we should let the accused go if they were not a danger to themselves or society, and that someone could assure that they would return to face trial. That's a 1,000-year-old medieval system that hasn't changed much. The American bail system has become the central issue in fighting the effects of mass incarceration and disproportionate impact on minorities and poor people. Every day, there are thousands of people that are not released from our jails, costing us, even my conservative counterparts that might be more concerned about the budget impact, at $130 a day for $100 bail, meaning 10% of the $1,000 that they might be called for. We're the fourth largest jail population per capita of every large city in America, fourth largest. William Penn tried to reform the system in 1682 by creating, the Clerk of Quarter Sessions Office to manage that system. We had hearings about that and some of the problems with it and eliminate it, but we did not eliminate the cash bail system. I would suggest to my colleagues that anything that's 100 years old might require a checkup, a tune-up, a fix-up, and a change. Bail has two purposes: to make sure people come back and to protect the public. In Washington, D.C., they have not had a cash bail system in over 20 years. And just like we're going to face, the sky is falling and all hell's going to break loose, that did not happen. In fact, Washington, D.C.'s crime rates went down, and nobody goes away for free, scot-free. Nobody just opens the jail and lets people out. They let them out if they're not a danger to themselves or society with conditions. So me and, where'd he go? The cameraman for that has the Dallas cap. We get in a bar fight on Friday because he's a Dallas fan. Now, we're friends, but I have a drinking problem. And this is a reoccurrence. Every Friday night I get my drink on and I go fight him. So the judge says, you know what, Mr. Jones, you probably don't need to be in jail. You probably need to be in a rehab. Would you go to rehab, and by the time you get back here, maybe you've completed that course, maybe you've seen the light, maybe you've changed your behavior for the better. And if not, we'll take that into account and rule accordingly. But you will be released with conditions. You will come back because you have an opportunity not to face prison time. Those should be the options as opposed to debtor's prison. Bail in Philadelphia has become a big business. And we know we're going to catch some flack about looking at things a little differently, but that's okay. So I'm calling for three things. One, I'm calling and asking that our counterparts in the Senate and in the House in Pennsylvania take a look at this for all of Pennsylvania. And if they can't do it for all of Pennsylvania, loosen up the regulations for cities of the first class, like Philadelphia, so we can manage our criminal justice system a little better. I'm going to also call upon the First District to take a look at our policies. As was said earlier, we have certain flexibility within our own rules and interpretation of the rules that we should look at. And then I'm going to call for Governor Wolf in Harrisburg to make this happen from a legal way. Now, that does not mean that we open the jails and let everybody out, because we met with 20 inmates up on State Road, and we asked them the simple question: should some people be incarcerated? And they looked around at each other and said, yep, some of us need to be here. But the vast majority of us that suffer because we're in jail because they don't have money to get out, they lose their jobs. They lose their apartments and homes. They lose their families and dignity and respect. And it creates a catastrophic series of events that they can't get out of. It increases poverty. When a kid goes and is pressured, as it was said, because they're sitting up there with the pressure of being in jail, and they plead guilty. They do not know at the time. They plead guilty just because they want that pressure of incarceration off of them, that there are over 200 things they will never get to do or be in this country, ranging from living in public housing with your family to ever being a postman or receiving a federal loan to start a business. We have to take a look. I am encouraged, Mr. President, and had a good conversation with the public defender and the new district attorney. And they too are looking at what work we've done to begin to incorporate that in their various departments. But I want to tell my other colleagues that our work is on the budget side. It's okay to know how to do good, but we also have to know how much doing good costs. So I'm going to say this in closing, that it's easier to help an at-risk kid than to try later to fix a broken man or woman. So thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councilman.